But I did want to say though, Derek, that over and under that I pulled on you on
oh yeah,
on turn 3, I'd done that several times earlier.
that was nice.
He went just a hair deep, and I was like, "Yep, here we go."
All right, can you guys see my screen? Okay.
Yep.
All right, fantastic. All right, Larry, give me one.
Alrighty, we're going to start with Mr. Slater. He's a narc tonight. Car 4, 1652. We have a blue flag and an overexcited leader. That's what it says.
Oh.
I'm going to go with what it says.
I think I was here for this one.
Our timestamps must be different. Yeah,
because I know what you're looking for.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, I remember this.
That was just painful to watch. Oh, there you go.
Oh, the fact that your car still worked was surprising to me because I was like, man, you've smashed him twice.
Well, I mean, that was a really light hit. But, like, that's the reason why you don't go offline to let the leader buy. And then not let the leader buy as well. Like, that's just silly.
Well, and I think the other thing, too, for, you know, the car is once you get to about here, you should probably start thinking that he's probably not going to pay attention to you anymore. Because, like, once you start to get into an acceleration zone where you guys are starting to accelerate, if he's not paying attention to you anymore, you should be like, all right, I'm going to check up a little and give myself some room. Because, you know, given the pace of 17 and a few other things, you kind of have to put it in your back pocket that he might not know you're there or doesn't care or, you know, just isn't ready to let you go by or whatever the reason is. So, once you get here, you should be like, oh, this is dangerous because he's now crossing over in front of me and we accelerated for a really long time. So... I don't think there's a place to really give it up safely now until you get through the chicane. So I would, you know, recommend just backing off there and let him be slow. Because, I mean, it's not like I'm going to get past you. I'm going to be the same distance away. So when we get here...
I mean, yeah. He lifted. That's the only thing. Kind of caught me off guard.
Sure. But, I mean, like... I think the thing that...
I guess.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think the thing that would have started alarm bells that he's going to do something suboptimal is, you know...
Oh, it's way earlier. Like, it's already on the exit of the chicane. Like, What the fuck was that?
Yeah, well, you know, being nice to him a little bit. Like, I get that he's slow coming on his way out. I get that, you know, cars might be catching him sooner than he thinks. But once we start drag racing up the hill as the leader, I'm going to be like, okay, I'm working with someone who doesn't know either where I am or what to do or how to respond to this, whatever. It doesn't matter. He's going to do something that I don't want him to do, and he's going to probably wreck my car. So I'm going to let him get through the chicane because he can't go through it quickly, clearly. And then I'll wait until we can get to a place where I can take complete control, which is probably either coming out of the chicane or coming around turn 10. And yeah, that's the thing.
What I would add, I probably have sent to Larry the same thing. It sucks to be behind a blue flag, even more on a track where you cannot overtake. But it's on you to manage.
But that's not. Sorry, I disagree. That's on the blue flag because if you look at what he does on the exit of the chicane, that's completely the wrong thing. Like he goes off the line to block the leader from getting a better run on the exit, and then doesn't lift.
Sure, I guess the point is really not so much the fact of whether the lapping car did the right or wrong thing. In my perspective, it's once you see the car is doing the wrong thing, how are you going to manage it?
Yes, that I agree. Like your priority is to keep your own car safe, but that thing on the exit of the chicane is like exactly what you should not do.
Sure. Yeah.
Drive the racing line. And if you don't know that the racing line doesn't go to the right here, then please learn because that is horrible.
Yeah, it's tough. But the other thing that made it rough was, I just want to play it from my perspective because like I was watching this and I was like, man, just if I don't know where you're going, but okay. And so there's dust on both sides, and now both cars have crossed either side of the track. I have no idea where anyone is at this point, and I can't risk, like, you're not trying to come back on track or other things like this. And so I just gotta let the car go straight, and when it lands with you, because I said if we all go the same general direction, at least I won't die. Like if you spin or snap or other things, I'm not going to try to thread a needle through this because I have no idea where you guys are and what you were going to do. And then that's an intentional dump to be like, they're dying, they're dead. I just don't want to be dead with them. Alrighty, Larry, next.
Car 3, 3418. I cannot pronounce most of the words in this sentence.
Nice.
No. I mean, I can pronounce them, but it wouldn't be nice.
Okay. By the way, can you guys hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
And your cat.
And the cat, yeah.
Oh yeah, which I have 6 now.
Nice.
Oh no.
Oh.
Oh no. So I'm gonna give a general PSA. This is partly for Car 17, but also I saw it happen with multiple instances with me and a few other folks. The MFD here is your absolute best friend, so that's the first thing. Second of all, never ever for the rest of time, anytime you drive a car, any game, real life, don't care, never, ever, forever enter the track perpendicular. Ever. Because part of the reason that this car crash happens is that you were driving across the track, like just perpendicular to the track. I don't know how better way to say it, right? And so you can't get out of the way of anything anymore. You were just a giant, like, barn door, right? And it's going to be infinitely harder for any other car to evade you because you're not going the same direction they are. So this is for everybody. This isn't just for Car 17. This is for absolutely everybody. Ever, never, ever cross the track perpendicular. Ever, forever. Right?
The only way to do this would be to come back onto the track like you're getting on an entrance ramp to the highway.
Right.
Well, pro tip: there's the reverse gear in the car.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a mile and a half of space behind you, so just put it in reverse, do like a 2-point turn, and you can rejoin.
Right. So, we spin. That's okay. Car spin. You're sitting here. That's okay. You held your brakes. Also good. But now, don't go forward. Right? There's a car coming. Right? Like, if this was an intersection and you were pulling into an intersection, you wouldn't just pull in front of a car. You'd have to yield to traffic. It's the same concept here, right? Never, ever, forever, never, forever, ever do this. Because this is like, there's nothing for him to do. He can't avoid you. And even if you wanted to try to get out of the way, your arc takes you this way. You're never, ever going to be able to get out of the way. Ever, forever, never. So, hopefully I've made that clear. Please don't.
I do want to make, like, can you go back to La Flamme, whoever it was, who was the other car? Because I do think he might have hit anyway, like, even if the McLaren didn't move, because, like, his full throttle into an accident.
Mm-hmm.
So that's also silly. Like, don't be stupid, don't risk your own car.
So, I don't know.
I left the car length, I thought, and then all of a sudden the guy just started pulling forward on me.
You probably would have hit him anyway. Like, you're going so wide and he's right on the, like, he's actually literally on the exit curb where you go on this corner. So there's a fair possibility you would have hit anyway. And that makes me unhappy because your priority is to keep your car safe. You need to finish the race.
Well, Eric, question for you. When did you first see him?
Just coming around the blind corner, and then I saw him. I did let off the gas. I'm not on the throttle right now.
Yeah.
And I thought I was going to leave like a car length and a half, or like a little bit more than that. If he had just stayed still, there's no way I would have hit him.
But you're trusting him to
that he's not going to hit the gas and come out in front of me. Yeah.
But you cannot at this point know if he's actually moving. Like, he might have already been moving. He wasn't.
Oh no, he was sitting still. I saw that much.
No, I don't think you did, because there's not enough time. Like, he just came from behind your A-pillar, and you need like half a second to make a judgment whether he's moving or not.
That's not my in-car view.
Well, I mean, even if we go from here or another in-car view, I think the thing you might want to just pay attention, like, be cognizant of the next time we have a spun car is just try not to thread the needle. Like, you're putting a lot of dependent trust that the car that you're working with is going to do the right thing. And you have to kind of assume that they will do all the wrong things just so that you can make yourself as safe as possible. And I think that's the point that I was trying to get to, right? Like,
Absolutely. I agree. I thought I was going to leave enough room.
Yeah.
So
they've already made a big mistake because they've spun out. So my trust in someone who's already crashed is basically none.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be anywhere near them. If I need to give up half a second to do that, that's fine. Because half a second in terms of an hour-long race is not that much.
Yeah. But I saw this happening a few times. The only reason I just want to bring this up is, like, I don't remember the timestamp, but like I almost got put into the wall going into turn 1 by a similar car. We were going together and we were accelerating together, and like I'm right on top of the guy that I'm passing, and I'm still getting squeezed into the wall. And so for most folks, I would say just like try to be aware of your surroundings a bit more, because I saw a lot of like unnecessary touches where it's like, if you're more comfortable looking at stuff as things are approaching you and the lap's coming up, and especially when something dynamic is happening, then you'll be more likely to kind of behave and not try to like move all over the place. And a lot of times I saw several cars just moving all over the place for kind of unnecessary reasons.
Lap 23. Devin.
Oh, okay. Let's look at that, because I would like to talk about that.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah, all right. Let's see.
Because I was watching it, I'm there. No.
Yeah, maybe it was lap 23. I just remember it was coming.
I can't remember. I think it's that what it was.
Yeah, you might be right. Let's see. If we...
It was right at the start-finish line.
Yeah. Let's see. Nope, wasn't that one.
Nope. Okay.
Yeah. Well, if you can hunt around and try to see if you can find it, because it's worth talking about, just because it's like where you come into the throttle, you kind of have to commit to make sure you don't get killed. And, you know, but the other side is that when you're working with blue flag traffic, you're hoping that they will pay enough attention when cars are around them that they don't kill you. So I don't know where you are now. So, oh well. We tried. Maybe it's a little later. Hold on. Sorry, I'm going to be selfish and just dig around for a little bit. Larry, how many more do we have after this?
6.
6? Okay, so
I'm counting numbers that are popping up, but these are like, everybody keeps sending me several. You guys are texting like my fucking sister. I mean, she puts down 3 words, enter, then she puts down another full sentence, enter, and then she puts down another one, enter.
I'll find it later. If I find it, I'll throw it up in a coaching discussion unless someone can find it while we're talking. All right, Larry, next.
Thanks, Greg. I appreciate it. Cut it out. Anyway, let's see. Car 23 at 1900, and he has others, but we'll go through those.
Okay.
Slowly.
Okay.
Devin.
Yes.
Devin.
Yes.
When you get to it, it's timestamp 57:15.
57:15. Okay.
Your timestamp is different.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah.
So it might be like lap.
Yeah, so next lap, I guess. They're on the same
We're a lucky boy.
Oh, but that I gave the position back. Yeah, but
I
it's
was very happy to see you give the position back, because that was.
oh yeah, that was definitely not. That was
We'll call it ugly.
Yeah.
No, but that wasn't the thing that I said.
Okay.
It's I believe it's 2 laps down. It's with the McLaren ahead
So is it 2 laps?
on the same part.
All right.
It's
It says
26:46.
it says 1900 dead right here.
Yes, because that's my timestamp.
So maybe here?
It's
Well, you teleported last week.
The car in front is 26:46.
I already closed the game. I'm sorry, guys. It's like 2 laps down. It's with the McLaren ahead, the white color, not that black.
Okay, let's see. Boop, boop, boop. I mean, you don't catch me for a while. That's dramatic.
Yeah, I think that's the one.
Is it the one where I bounce over the curb?
Yeah, the one that you just saw.
Oh, okay.
With the car sideways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what time it was. I just ignored it. I was like, I don't see a white McLaren. I see a black one. So, where are we?
Yeah, but I don't have all these skins, so that's why. My bad.
Okay.
Follow that one. I think it's about another lap or so from there.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yet again.
Yeah, that's the one. Just go back a little bit backwards so you can see.
Oh,
a little bit more. A little bit more.
So
it's still on me, right?
Can I ask you a question, Gustavo?
Yeah.
So we had this happen in House of Practice, so I'm curious about your approach here. Walk me through why you did what you did.
Everybody grab your popcorn.
No, it was totally dumb. It's just because on the first part of the chicane, I kind of was alongside him, and I thought I was still there, but I wasn't.
Sorry.
Well, hold on.
Were you actually alongside him?
Wait, stop. Let me finish first, because I want him to get all the way down to the end. Then you can run him over. Gustavo, keep going.
Yeah, on the second, keep going. The play. There you go.
Yeah, okay.
I thought we would follow like that. And then when I saw him, I just tried to get close as possible, and that was it. But you can see my inputs.
Yeah.
It was too close. The same mistake that I did on the House of Practice.
Yeah.
As I did before.
Okay.
Yes.
So, was it more the fact that, because I'm trying to word this specifically, but from your perspective, did you feel like you fell off the track and then you could kind of get up next to him?
That's what I was thinking.
Okay.
We would follow. It's not a track where you try to be alongside someone.
Yeah.
But I was with I believe a blue flag before on that part of the track alongside, and I could make it.
Yeah.
And I believe you were following me later on the race where I did the same thing again.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what. But it's totally dumb. That wasn't the place to try to do a move like that.
Okay.
Well,
yeah. Now
I mean, philosophically speaking, I think, and this isn't to say that you should try in every possible corner, but I've seen a lot of people say, like, I read a lot of LFM Discord chat, which is kind of funny place to be because people are complaining about dive bombs and shit all the time, and they are saying that, well, corners X and Y are impossible, like you cannot overtake there. The rules say you cannot. Well, actually, there's no rule that says you cannot overtake or go too wide anywhere. You can do whatever you want. There's only one track in real life that has a permanent yellow in one corner, and that's Macau, because the track is terrible. But anyway, so fundamentally, I don't agree with the thinking that you can't go too wide in place X, Y, or Z. Any place is fine, but you do have to actually get alongside fully, and then you do need to give the space. And can you go free cam and see how much overlap there is here? Because I don't think there really is any.
There's barely not, because I could only be alongside him on the first part of the chicane because I break it a little bit later. And then he was nice to me and he went to the left and opened a little bit more space, which just increased my confidence that, okay, maybe I could be alongside him. But at the exit,
but I think
it was totally dumb.
I think I think the bigger mistake here is this attempt at diving him, because you're so far. Like if you were already alongside before the braking, then I could see you trying that, because this is a really hard play. Like it's really, really, really hard to do anything here. It's possible, but it's really hard. But just like sometimes you just have to accept that you can't do anything. And the actual mistake later, that's just like that kind of things, they do happen. It's very unfortunate, and I would prefer if they didn't, but they do. But I think from like a learning, like, and I know there's different ways of thinking about racing, but I tend to focus on bringing the maximum points home that I can in any way possible, which quite often it means that I'll just follow the car in front. Like yesterday, I literally let someone by because I didn't want to get overtaken by the car that was behind both of us. Because I knew that I would, like, the guy I let by would definitely have gotten me. He had way more top speed on Monza, and you know how that works. And there was another guy like 0.7 seconds behind both of us. And if we were fighting, he might get me or he might get both of us. But if I let this guy go and then we just like run away as hard as we can, I'll only lose one position, not two, and that's better. And sometimes you just have to like accept that unless you get a really high probability place, maybe you can't do anything. Maybe you just have to sit there. I mean, was this before or after the pit stops?
Before, pretty early on.
Right. Okay. So that's another thing. as a kind of a like bigger scale racecraft thinking is that if you feel like you're stuck behind someone who is significant, like slower, but you're struggling to get the clean overtake opportunity, if it's before your pit stop, there's another reason not to panic, because you have all the options. You can undercut, you can overcut, you can do whatever you want.
That was pretty much bad thinking, because if you go back a little bit from the other chicane, he got a bad exit. So that's the only thing that kind of like gave me a little more, oh, okay,
right,
maybe this is the moment. But it was totally just bad thinking and not thinking through correctly, because it could have waited.
That's one thing that humans are unfortunately very bad, is this kind of like getting locked into one solution. Like you saw he got a bad exit and you're like, haha, this is my opportunity. And it's very hard to back out of it, to go like, well, there might have been an opportunity, but it doesn't look good. Like it there might be something, but it looks like a high risk thing. Maybe I need to just not do it. And that's very hard to do.
So, Gustavo, what I have in most corners on most tracks is what I call a point of no return. Where if I'm not alongside that car before we hit the point of no return, I don't care. You can have it. And that keeps me from like trying to squeeze my car into a place where I may be vulnerable on like the other side of a corner. Because even if you got by through the here, you're really vulnerable to him making a mistake offline, crashing into you, bumping you, blah, 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 if you're not alongside him early enough. So even if a car has a bad exit, you can pick a place on the track and be like, okay, this is my point of no return. If I'm not ready to set up an attack by then, just don't. And
that's an interesting concept. Did you mark those points by yourself?
Sure did.
Just following people?
Yep. It's right here, where the gray and the checkered line is, because it's right before the braking zone. If I'm not alongside the car in front of me before we reach this point, you can just have it, because I'm not going to be able to outbrake you, really make it safely through there, not bounce over the curbs, and not be in a really vulnerable space to the other side. You know, and what am I going to lose? 0.1? Nothing. I'm just going to push you. So it takes all the stress off me. I can make that decision coming out of the chicane. And so I have plenty of time to decide this, right? As we come around here, I'll say, okay, all right, you fucked up, great. Let's go, run. Still not there, still gonna keep trying, still not gonna there, still gonna keep trying. I mean, here, what am I gonna do? Unless right?
Look at my right tires.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. If you were alongside him here before the point of no return, I would go full attack. I'd be like, well, you're dead, but you're not. You're behind.
The point of return is a good thing, because it kind of like, it's foolproof.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's not quite foolproof, but at least like in
no, but it helps you to not lay down on like.
Right.
Exactly. Like what it does, it gives you a point where you're going to reevaluate, because that's the problem with humans, is that we get locked into one way of thinking. But if you have this point of no return where you are like, where you have predefined that at this point, if I'm not at least this much alongside, I'm gonna back out. It forces you to like double check your decisions. Like go like,
where am I?
Am I actually there? And that makes things a lot safer. I'll also point out that part of the reason why this is a very hard move to do, even if he got a bad exit, like if it was just a little bit bad exit, is that because as soon as you move to the right, your path through the left-hand corner that goes over the hill is significantly longer than his path. So even at the lower speed, he's probably going to stay ahead.
And that's what happened.
Yeah.
You can see on the exit.
Yeah. So
sorry, Pablo, again.
But I think it's good, because like I see a lot of folks too, and then we'll stop it here. I see a lot of folks too like over anticipate the error they think their opponent's going to make. And so like they get to the chicane on the other side and they're like, oh, I think he's going to miss the corner, but you're not fully really paying attention to like if he's at the right angle to miss the corner, or if he's missed the corner yet. So you kind of start going preemptively, and then that's what causes the crash. A lot of times when I'm following cars like this, I wait for them to really make the error, like let them die, like let them understeer, like make it an easy goal, right? And then once I see them steering away from the corner, now I'll go. But until I see that movement, I'm just gonna sit there, because I can't do any more than that, right? I can't attack until it's happening. All right, so.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
All right, next Larry.
Let's see. They've kind of failed. They've kind of fallen off here because certain ones are overlapping and things. 8:40 on the timestamp. Car 6.
Okay.
Overtaking car closes the door with a car still in it. Okay. I didn't see that until just now, but okay.
Oh no.
Who's got the lightsaber on their car?
Oh. Yeah, right.
That's pretty cool.
Okay, so let's look at this.
That's just their head.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. He just closed the line without considering that there's still a car there.
Yep.
I'll remind you that everyone that the rule is that if there's any overlap that leads to a legit claim, and this is technically a straight, not a corner, by the way, because you can change your line while turning left. It's not tight enough in a GT3 to be an actual corner. If there's any overlap, space needs to be given.
And it's also just a good habit, right? Like, once you start passing your car, you don't need to do any more than this. Like, you've got control of the corner coming up. You've got track position on the other way. You don't need to squeeze them or make him back out anymore. You already passed him. You did the thing. So now you don't need to do any more. You just need to make sure you don't get killed. Or, in this case, you kind of got yourself killed by squeezing a physical object in the virtual space, right? So we always want to make sure when we're passing cars to be nice to our friends and not run them off the road. And that will make sure that you can get your pass done because, like, you did it. This was an awesome pass until we got here. And if we just, had stayed to the right, you would have had plenty of room to manage him. And he's not going to get around the outside of you. He's going to fall in the sand or anything. So you were good. And then, this happened. So just give it a little more space. It'll be okay.
Also, one, it didn't happen here, but could have happened here maybe in a slightly different scenario. If you ever cut right back to the racing line, like right in front of someone, then immediately brake. Like if this was a little bit further forward and there was no overlap, it would still probably be your fault because you have to give the other car enough time to adjust. So if you cut back on the racing line like inches in front of someone and then immediately slam on the brakes, even if you are braking at the correct place, that gives absolutely no time for the other car to kind of adjust to the situation that, hey, okay, now I need to brake earlier because there's a car in front and oh my god, I'm already past the braking point. So generally speaking, like if you're just barely getting in front of someone before the braking zone, it's better to just like use whatever inside line you have to be defensive straight away, just to be safe, because you don't want to be hit, obviously.
Right. Yeah. Risk to your car is job one, right? Keep my car safe. So there.
Yeah, we are down to let's see. Brian sent me one. Okay. Let's see. I'm kind of backtracking here.
No, don't read that one.
Yeah. Well, I'm giggling about a bunch of stuff. So, okay. Mark Felton's got one here. Car 33. Lap 2, turn 3 and 4. I'm guessing his timestamps are wrong or something.
Yeah, it's between turns 3 and 4 on lap 2.
Okay.
They'd take some very evasive manoeuvres. Lap 2, you're a bit further in.
That's it right there.
Right there.
Oh, big wiggle.
Yeah, big wiggle. That's on me. But yeah, he just jumped from the racing line just sort of straight at me. I'm like, what the hell?
Can we take another look?
Yeah.
So that's oversteer, and then he's just returning to the line. So, I mean, yeah, it's annoying, but so
it wasn't
general racecraft kind of thing. when you see someone, because I think he touched the grass, or at least the curb, but probably the grass as well. Yeah, I think he's maybe just barely touching the grass, but he's definitely on the curb.
Yeah, it wasn't it was just, that was annoying, like having to brake in a straight line, but
well, so the thing is,
it wasn't the only bad move that he made blocking.
Well, so I want to point out that and this is for your like improvement overall, is that if you see someone getting like touching the curb and then getting that kind of wiggle thing that he got there, at that point, if you do a little bit of a lift, like don't brake, just lift a little bit, like 20% maybe, you will probably, you can carry more speed, like you would be much closer here. You might even have a possibility of a run here, because you waited so long until you got really close to him, you had to brake pretty hard to like not hit him. But it's just like, it's the skill that you build over time where you are predicting what's going to happen. Like when I see him touching that curb, I know he's probably going to wiggle, and he's probably going to have to lift, and he's probably going to go like right, left, whatever. So what I would be doing is just gently lifting a little bit to carry as much speed as I can, but just like adjusting so that I'm as close as I can coming out from the corner.
Yeah, I get that. It was just, he'd been poorly defending for probably the first half of the first lap.
Sure.
Since I got on behind him, and it kept going after this.
Well, so one other advice when you find cars that are kind of all over the place is see if they will either attack the car in front poorly and make it easier for you to pass, or if they'll just blow a corner in a massive way that makes it easier for you to pass.
Essentially, that's exactly what I did a bit further up. If you keep watching, I just let them die.
Yeah, you let them die.
Get around them easy.
Yeah, no, it's a good tactic, right? Because like I can't drive the other guy's car, but clearly we're not going very quick yet, and we're not exactly sure where we're going to be. So I don't want to be in a train of 3 with 2 guys in front of me that are kind of playing with each other when I know that I might get in an accident because of it. So backing up a little and watching him to see if he falls off or dies will save you a lot, because you're not going to fall away from him. Like they're not going to lose you. Right, so.
No, that's what I actually did after that incident. I'm like, no, he's janking around. I've had to brake a couple of times mid corner or on corner exit to not hit him, and I'm like, no, I'm just going to let him die.
Yeah.
That's where patience comes in, especially very early in the race like that.
Yeah, no, yeah. For sure. Especially like, okay, so I have a habit of qualifying badly, so I always end up behind people that I know I'm going to drive by early on in the race. And often, like, if I can't immediately get by, I normally just let them make the mistake I know they're going to make, so that I don't have to do as much work. Because over 65 minutes, I will get by them and drive away before we really even worry about it. But the one thing I don't want them to do is hit me, because I need my car to not be damaged. So, those are always kind of helpful, like especially here, right? Like you're quicker-ish than some of the cars immediately around you. So you know that you can get through it. So you can just let them lose a bunch of time playing with each other, and you can attack them later.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much what I did. I just let them kill each other a bit. I think it wasn't even a half a lap up, and they were
right. Yeah, exactly. Like I find myself in house of practice all the time. I'll get into this battle that I think is really intense, and then I look up at the lap timer, and only 2 laps have come by, and I'm like, oh shit, it was only 3 minutes at max. I can wait. I can wait.
Yeah, no, I got to give praise to a couple of people after tonight's race, but I did actually have some good battles going on, and I don't know how we didn't kill each other a couple of times.
Sure. Larry, give me another one. I'm digging around looking for something specific, and I don't think I'm going to find it. So,
what was the
I've
one
actually
that Brian sent?
Oh, 57,
the one that
15, I think he said.
Oh yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Let's see where we are here. And so it's not this one, because we're already alive and we're okay then. So we're gonna bear with me here, folks.
I sent that one
Yeah,
to
here we
Larry
are.
as well.
Here we are. Yep, here it is. So the thing
Little paint on the wall.
Yeah, well, the thing that really got me is like just sitting in the middle of the road, right? So it made it difficult to kind of know where to go here, and I just had to squeeze myself up against the wall because, you know, again, if you're gonna let cars go by, it's really more helpful to be on the racing line. Back here. Okay, so the upcoming turn is a left-hand turn, which means we start from the right-hand side of the track. And if we are planning to let cars go by, we'll get to the right as quickly as we can, and then we'll do all the things. So I'll go this way. What am I supposed to do? Right? I either A, lose a ton of time, like an unnecessary amount of time. And I mean, he doesn't have to worry about me. It's just frustrating, right? Or B, I have to just go full speed around the outside and just kind of hope he slows down and notices now because I don't have really
Send it.
Yep. And that's what I was gonna say. Like, please don't come over. And so I ended up just right up against the wall because I don't trust a car I'm lapping. I don't want to be close to him at this point because he's in a weird place. So I want to be as far away as possible. So I tried to get myself up against the wall just to make sure that if we did touch, it wasn't going to be too bad. And then we'll go from there.
I don't know if it's because of the truck, but that happened quite often this evening with blue flags.
Yeah. There was one that I wish I was better at timestamps, but there was one coming out of turn 10 that I had to thread the needle through here to make sure that I didn't die for the exact same reason. Where I came out and I was like, I think it's here actually. Yeah, here we are.
I almost called one out for somebody being exactly sideways in the corner on the the apex.
I had to drive off the track for this one because
that wouldn't be on you because he's on.
Well, it's kind of debatable because that chicane is so easy in a GT3 that he could very easily hug to the left and stay out of the way.
Yeah.
Like I mean, this is rookies, so it's normal to. But like in a higher tier league, you would expect people to have the awareness that there is the car behind me got a massively better exit, and if that's the case, then just like stay far to the whatever side you are on, just stay on that side.
Yeah, but often I found myself drag racing cars instead.
Guys, I don't want to be the annoying one, but I kind of feel confused for me now. Because we always say that we should ask for the blue flags to stay on the racing line. For example, there's 2 instances that I sent to Larry later, I believe, that I almost hit the guys, but I just had to suck it up because they were on the racing line, and I was the fast guy, so I would have to find my way going past her. There's one of them that you probably saw, and like I lost a lot of time, I believe like 2 seconds.
Gustavo. We tell people to stay on the racing line until the faster car makes a move. And here the speed differential is so huge that the move is really started like way before this mini chicane thingy, whatever it's called.
But he doesn't have any awareness that there's another car.
Yeah, but that's I mean, and that's fine because this is rookies. But like as a learning point, you should know that these are like top cars coming through. Check the mirror right as you come out from the corner to see what the car behind is doing. Like if he's clearly moving to the side and getting close, he's already going for it.
Run that, Davin.
Yeah, okay.
Run that.
Well, so let's run it back because here's the thing, right? So this is what's important to me. So as I'm approaching this, you know, the leader car is passing the back marker car. So if I'm the back marker, I'd be like, oh, I'm being passed by a car. I should probably check to see if there's another car coming. Now there's another car close to me. I know this. So hopefully here would be a great place to try to stay out of the way here because you can see that a car that is way higher than you is making a run on you and has already done it. We're already doing it. Like I'm going to pass you no matter what happens. You stay on the throttle or if you don't. But we're not trying to like avoid that, and I'm going, so.
No, the other car should have lifted. Just lift.
Or just move
because
move more to the left, right? Like, both, right? I would have preferred actually him to just move more to the left. Like the lift is neither here nor there. Right? I'm already driving fast. I don't need you to lift anymore. And in fact, if you do it here, it's probably going to catch me out because we're on the acceleration point, and I'm not expecting you to just get off the throttle. Like,
you just drill him from behind because he slows down.
Yeah, you'd be like, whoa. But when we get here, I'm like, okay, now you'll move left because you know that I'm coming, and you know the road is already going to the left. So like, at least show an attempt to try to move left, and then I will give you room here. But when we get here, I'm like, you're not even trying to move left. You're just going like I'm not there. So I'm gonna go straight because I'm not backing out of this. We'll probably die now, and then go across the grass, right? So, let's go ahead.
Yeah, we have to keep in mind this is the rookies, but like what I would say is that if, and I know it's very hard on this track because this track is very busy. Like there's very little time to pay attention to anything. But so, as someone who does a whole lot of multi-class and usually in the slower class, what I'm doing all the time is I'm checking my relative box to see what's coming behind me. Like if I see that there's 2 faster cars and the delta between them is extremely close, like they are within a second of each other, I need to be very, very, very aware and careful because as soon as the first of those 2 comes by me, the second one is going to be right there, and he's not going to want to spend any time at all because they are fighting. So I'll check my mirror on every single acceleration zone to see if the car is right behind me, which way are they going? And this is super important to understand, is that the positioning of the cars is how you communicate.
Yes.
If you are saying that I'm gonna follow you through this corner, you stay right behind them. If you see someone sitting right behind you, even if he's million seconds per lap faster, he's telling you, I'll follow you, just go. As soon as you see them move to the side, and as soon as you are the faster car and you move to the side, the message you are sending is, I'm going for it. Make space.
Yeah.
And that's how you communicate to each other. Like, indicators flashing, whatever, is nowhere near as clear as the positioning of the cars to tell what you want the other guy to do.
Right. Yep. And unfortunately, what that means is when you communicate poorly between cars, you typically end up getting more aggressive, lap more aggressively. Because the conversation that we're having, whether the 17 is realizing it or not, is either A, I either don't know you're there, or B, don't care you're there. And either way, I'm like, bro, you need to move. And so there's elegant ways to do it that would make your life a lot easier, right? Where you just move over a little bit, even in an attempt to move left, like a tiny little one. And I'll be like, oh, thank you. Like, I appreciate you, sir, for doing that, right? Where when you're down in sub 20, whatever, right? And being lapped by the leaders, it is somewhat frustrating to just and you're not in a battle, because we have race car rules around this. If you were battling for a car right in front of you, you would have to wait, right? If it's in a place where you just can't move out of the way easily, like in a chicane or something, you have to wait. But this is an acceleration zone, so there's plenty of time for the cars to communicate and do something about it.
Is it possible to see car 17 rear view mirror as you approach it?
Sure.
Well, we can't see that because I just think you totally in the blind spot.
It's kind of hard because we don't know who's using the virtual mirror and what their FOVs are and everything, but that should be in the video.
I mean, right here, you should be able to say, hey, I'm between 2 cars and I wasn't before. Right? So,
right, but what does he do though? Because he doesn't see where you're going yet.
Well, now he sees.
Now he is, yeah.
Even the rear view camera makes it clear that the faster car has moved from, he's not following you, he's moved to the side, which is a very clear indication that he's going for it. You need to give space. Mm-hmm. Again, the positioning is how you communicate. And this is super important for the faster guys as well, because you don't move to the side if you're not certain you are going for it and you can make it. It's the most annoying thing when you are in a multi-class, in the slower class, is when people show the nose, they're like, I'm going for it, and then they back out. Because then I'm like, well, I missed the apex by half a mile because I thought you were going for it, you dumbass.
Yeah. Well, and for me here, like, I had decided coming out of 10, I was going. Like, there was no ifs, ands, or buts that I was going that way, right? And, I mean, you can hear him in my, as I'm driving by, he doesn't even lift for this. So, even if you don't see me, and you didn't see me on the exit, and you didn't see me approaching you, as you are being overtaken by a car in the grass, it is prudent to be like, oh man, I might be in the way, and get out of the way of that, because like in some races that's a hip check waiting to happen. In a more like competitive league, I would have smacked him with my fender and just kept going. I would have like bang, move, right? And you don't want that. That's needless contact. But I'm not gonna wait for him to figure out where I am, because Gustavo will be gone and him and I are a similar pace. I will never catch him again. So I need to go.
So. Can we see the same car at 6410, I believe? It's one of those points when it's kind of to the same thing. Just go, yeah, it's a little bit further down. I'm catching him. We are two. Yeah.
And this isn't to beat up on one guy. It's just
no. It's just to understand the circumstances better.
Yeah, it's just
because you're gonna be on that position too. If you're in a faster league, you're gonna be the blue flag.
It's more like the importance of awareness and what to do. Oh right, yeah, I was in this battle with this.
So I kind of like didn't know what to do, and I was trying to.
Yeah, I mean, so that's a kind of. I think the problem is that the car in front doesn't actually know where the racing line is, or is unable to follow it, unfortunately enough.
So Gustavo, in the future, good tip: don't tailgate this car. Back up and back me up. Right? Because you are now constrained. Like, as soon as I saw you get to here, I knew I was catching you. Because you are now going the speed of 17. You can't get around it now. So I full speed went in there at full speed. Because I was like, well, he just bottled himself up. Where if you back up a little bit and keep me closer to you, you can wait until there's a lane that you can go by and manage the whole thing.
Kind of like what Leclerc did in Monaco.
Yeah, kind of. Because what happens here, now you're going really slow, and I know that. So I'm like, tack. Still not protecting. Still trying to get by. Tack. So you get into the grass, and I'm like, and now I've got to run on you, and I'm going to attack you for this rest of the section, right?
Well, also,
let's watch that.
Oh yeah, we should.
Well, I want to point out that you made the overtake on the back marker artificially difficult because you were tailgating so hard.
Because
like you had to tap the brakes multiple times there to not hit him. If you followed it just a tiny bit further away, you would have more opportunities to just like carry your own speed through and blast by him wherever. But that's obviously like it takes a lot of practice to figure out like not to predict how people drive, and it's obviously it's a lot harder. Like I'll say this, it's very hard in something like our rookies, because the difference, like the top guys here would be pro in Tuesday, and the bottom guys are like significantly off that, like actually like fairly new to this whole thing. So this is really the hardest possible place almost, I know, for just like dealing with the traffic.
Yep. I did want to talk to you, Gustavo, about this.
Oh, that's where, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine.
That's too much there.
There's two mistakes. There's two mistakes. One is that you're too far to the left. Like you should hug Gustavo way more on the corner entry.
Yeah.
just to open up the corner.
Well, and it's funny.
And then,
it's funny. You're right.
And also the second one kind of ties to it is because, I mean, you brake too late, but that braking point might have been fine if you were more to the right to open up the corner.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, the reason why I didn't is because I didn't particularly trust Gustavo. Like, we've run into each other a lot the last couple of days, and I'm kind of over that. And like, this is not his fault. This is not his fault at all. But like, he tends to be kind of aggressive. So I don't want.
Look at that! I should have done that. I'm sorry.
So like, I
had no idea how close you were to the wall.
And that's fine. It's just knowing the guy I'm racing with. Dude, Gustavo, I love you. It's just I'm making my way into the corner, and I'm like, I know when I put pressure on Gustavo, he gets a little aggressive. We already kind of touched on the straight coming up. If it was someone else, like I don't know, someone else I know, I probably would have leaned on him and we would have gone together. But I just have a feeling you're going to turn. So I tried something else, and I didn't know where to brake. I just kind of guessed and said, I'm probably going to miss the corner. And if I miss the corner, I'm just going to go to the sand. Right. So
it's funny. It's funny that you say that, because the way that I tried to brake was slightly later than I usually would brake, because I was trying to induce you, because that's what I thought you would do. You would brake a little later and block me, so I wouldn't be able to turn. And if you can see from my camera, I almost touched the back of your car when I'm turning a little bit further.
So what I would have done, Gustavo, is to brake earlier than normal and then turn in a little bit later than normal and try to cut to the left side of him on the exit. Because
exactly.
If he doesn't miss the corner, like if he actually gets through the corner, he's probably going to be slow on the exit because like the entry line is terrible.
Yep.
So I usually brake just a tiny bit early and then kind of try to turn tighter than they turn and get the power down and get the run on the exit. I mean, obviously it kind of sucks here because the next corner is the opposite way. But
so just let me explain. From my perspective, racing Devin, so that's why it's so important to get to know each other, is that I knew that Devin would try to block me and park on the apex or in the middle of the track, even though if he had a bad exit, which would make so much harder for me to try to overtake him on the next on T2 turn 2.
That actually was my plan. That actually was my plan, right? Like I was like, if I
can get him
in early, I'm gonna stop in the middle of the corner and just stall him out.
And that would be fucked. So that's why I thought I should try to induce him to make a mistake on the first turn, so I can have a better chance on. And that's exactly what happened.
Well, yeah, and the thing was, it's like I was in a foreign place, and I'm like, I'm never over here. Like, I don't know. That's not where the racing line is. I don't know where to lift for this. Like, I don't ever drive down here.
That was the whole goal.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know where to go.
Well, so one simple kind of rule of thumb is that. And this doesn't work for every single corner in the world, but for every car width that you are off the line, you need to brake a little bit less than one car length earlier to make the corner. It's very, very, very kind of generic and rough and yada yada blah blah, but
that's interesting.
It's kind of like a very kind of rudimentary way if you find yourself in a place and you have no fucking idea what to do. You kind of try to make the corner.
Yeah, that's where I was at, because I was like, I don't know the timing here of where his car is, and if I lift, if we're gonna like cross each other, and like not with no disrespect to Gustavo, I also don't know if he's gonna turn in anyway. So I'm a little worried about that, right? Like I'm like, well, I mean, so
and that almost happened.
Yeah, and the other thing I was kind of hoping is that you would just come up with me, right? And so I was like, well, maybe he'll just turn and go off with me. So let's just see. But I saw you cross behind me, so that's why I didn't come back on the track. I was like, oh, there he is. Like, he's behind me. Like, okay, it's fine. And then I figured that I would just lean on you for the rest of it. Because I was like, well, now we're probably in a little bit of a higher pressure situation. We just had a nice little over-under, right? And if I lean on you, you're more likely to probably make a mistake. You kept dropping it on the outside of 4. So I was like,
oh, yes.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, shit, man. Like, we're doing this. We're sliding everywhere. Like, that's good. Let me try to keep pressuring him in 4, pressure in 6. Maybe he'll make a mistake in 4, 5, and 6. Yeah.
Those flat tires just fucked me.
Yeah, dude, because, you were dropping so often that after this, I was like, I'm just going to keep trying to see if I can get you to fall off. So.
Every time I pushed a little bit, I would hear the tires like, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Alrighty. How many more do we got, Larry?
You guys went through everything.
Yay! We did it.
Can we watch my last lap with Eric? that is it's just going on the blue flag thing that we were discussing.
You have one at 6450 and a 6410, but I think you've already covered those.
Yeah, we already got over
Is
that.
it just lap 44?
Just the last lap. Yep.
Okay.
Just left.
It was me not letting you go because I knew Pablo wasn't going to catch you.
Yeah, no, but I mean, is what could I have done differently on the blue flag thing that we were discussing? Because Eric was the blue flag, and I was trying to find a position. Was because I believe every single time I would have an opportunity, maybe I was too close to him, like the same mistake that I did with the McLaren before.
One thing, if you noticed just then, you actually caught him in the braking zone. That means you didn't anticipate as much as you should have.
Well, so one problem here is that the Lexus is significantly faster in a straight line than the AMG, and that's always going to make this scenario very kind of annoying and difficult. Also, I think looking at the driving, I feel like Eric is getting better exits while Gustavo is carrying more NPM mid-corner speed, which also makes it harder because getting a better exit is the easiest way to pass anyone.
Actually, Devin, we do have one that needs to be looked at, but we can do it in a minute.
That was unfortunate because that was your best opportunity. But I don't know, like, I don't know if you could have done anything.
Exactly. So I think was, of course, some of it is just a bad timing, but some of that is also miscalculating, right? The distance.
Yeah, but it's also very hard because, like, he's not slow.
Right.
The pace difference between you two is not that significant.
No. And I got 2 flat tires.
Like, the only reason the only reason I think you are lapping him is because he's had incidents, not because he's significantly slower. And that always, like, you can always, and that's why you need to know, like, you need to know who's fast, who's not fast in your league if you do any kind of, like, league racing. Because if you see one of the faster guys and you're lapping them, you need to expect it to be a little bit tricky. And that's where I would flash. Like, I would just, like, flash the fuck out of him if I ever get any kind of, like, reasonable close distance on a straight. Because, like, yes, technically he doesn't have to yield, but he's also not fighting anyone. So, what's in there for him?
Well, and I think the other thing too is like sections like this, right here, where you see him in a bad line and he's still early apexing and he hasn't gotten to the apex. You don't want to get close to him like this here because you're going to have to back out and he's going to be on the power. So you're going to be behind him again. So you're artificially slowing yourself down again. It's not like you're going to get a run on him or anything, but he's already in a crappy place. So at least try to maximize the error that he's making. And right, but if you get stuck here, now you got to come off the gas or brake or just not accelerate. Either way, all 3 of those are bad. And you're just, and especially with the car got to the top end, once it gets back on the exit again, you can't do anything about it. So you have to,
I mean, there's like a very slight chance here if you go back like 3 seconds or something. So you're gaining a lot on the braking, and here you get, like, as soon as you see on the previous apex that he's kind of missing the corner, and now he's missing this apex as well. This is a signal to say that he's gonna be slow on the exit. Now, if you if you lifted here a little bit, you could probably carry more speed through the next right-hander. But it's always going to be like, it's really, really, really hard. And it's really kind of small differences because, again, you guys are not that different on lap time. Like, we're talking a couple of tenths, not a second and a half. So it's always going to be difficult. And
I was a full second off all race, Ilpo.
No, but
I don't think so.
my pace,
it doesn't look like that.
My pace at that moment was very close to your.
Like, I think at this time the difference is more like maybe half a second, and it's almost complete.
It was much closer in the second half. I have to admit,
almost all of it is in those 2 chicanes, and that's exactly why it's such a pain in the arse, because those chicanes, like how much entry speed you can carry into them, is not a way to overtake anyone at all. But that, I mean, in these kind of scenarios, when you're lapping someone who is close to your own pace, like the best thing to do is to be friends with them. So they'll be like, oh, there's nothing for me to lose by letting this guy by. And it sounds kind of funny, but that is literally the best thing you can do, is to be good friends with those people, because like it's very hard to get any kind of move started. I mean, the best opportunity I saw on this lap is here. If you lifted here instead of like having to almost brake on the exit, I think you might have even actually tapped the brakes, just so that the speed differential is in the next corner, not in this corner, because you can't do anything here. That might have been enough, but I don't know. Like, it's still very hard.
If ands or buts. I mean, I think, Gustavo, the thing that I would maybe focus on the next time you're at house practice is not catching cars mid-corner. Because once you catch cars mid-corner, you're bottled up. And if you get yourself bottled up, then you're just susceptible to attack.
So how do you do that? That's what I was going to ask you.
Slow down a little early.
I mean, how you time, like for me, for example, is how you time ahead of time.
It is. There is no, like, you cannot learn this by me telling you anything useful or by reading a book or anything. Right, the only way to learn is to race every possible type of person you can find. Spend
follow them.
1,000 hours on it. Race every possible different person you can find. Like, race the fast guys, race the slow guys, do everything possible you can find, and you start building this kind of. I think he dropped out real quick
and came back.
You just have to race a lot of people, and you start kind of seeing, and also knowing the cars also helps, because if you know that your car is better at something than the other car, that gives you some knowledge, information that you can use to kind of deduce what might be happening. But again, like, there's no book, there's no guide how to learn this. It's just like experience, just racing people.
Yeah, because
it almost becomes second nature, and it's like a split-second decision anyway.
Right. Yep. Because you have to time
it.
You have to time it deliberately, right? Like, with experience, as you approach a slow car on the way up, you're thinking several corners ahead. Like, okay, I need to give him enough of a room so that I can get on the throttle coming out of a chicane, and I don't run out the back of him. How much room do I need?
Also, if you have followed someone for, like, let's say a full lap, you should know, like, you already have gathered information, like where the differences are, like where he's pulling away, where I'm catching him, where I'm actually having to brake to not hit him. That's all information you are gathering that can help you. But it's very, like, racecraft is so difficult because we can tell you the basics, but that doesn't help you at all, because you have to make the decisions like almost subconscious. Like, you don't have time to think most of the time. It's only when you are planning something complicated you have time to think. But like these kind of scenarios, you have maybe half a second to decide what to do. That's not enough to actually go like, it says this and then that and then that. No.
Yeah, but racing everyone's a good piece of advice. Like, I race everyone equally in races, whether I'm leading or whether they're on the same lap as me or whatnot, because their car can still ruin my race. So if I'm following, like, coming up against the back marker and I'm chasing a car, in my mind I'm racing two cars. And I'm like, okay, we're coming up on two cars, gotta brake early because of those two cars. Let's turn in, let's get the run on that slow car, let's go. Right? Instead of being like, oh, I'm only racing, Thompson, and the other guy's just in the way. No. Both cars are a physical car in the virtual space. That slow car can ruin my life just as easily as the fast car can. I need to get by both of them. So how do I do that? Where do I get by? And then I watch the car in front of me to be like, well, did he just drive up in the back of a slow car? Well, that's good for me. Let's maximize that run. But I've also done a lot of races. So now I can be like, oh, you fucked that, and make a run at them, like, instinctively. Because that's what I did to you, right? Like, I'm back here, and I saw you up there, and I was like, well, he's screwed. The one we were fighting.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Yeah, mm-hmm. I saw that coming around turn 4 and 5.
So you leveraged that,
yeah,
right?
as soon as we came up turn 6, you started coming up turn 6, and you got up his bumper, I'm like, I'm attacking him coming out of turn 10. And I set up my attack back then because I've just seen it happen so many times that I'm like, okay, let's go. If I commit now, by the time you guys get to turn 10, I'll be right up Gustavo's bumper. So let's go. Right? And I just started my attack then. but you couldn't predict it. Like you couldn't anticipate it until you see those cars so many times that you're like, okay, I know what's gonna happen.
And it become like second nature.
Yeah.
I believe that is one of the reasons why I made so many mistakes, why I was trying to overtake in positions where I shouldn't, because it goes back to what Leopold just said. You know what is going to happen.
Yep.
So you kind of like are anticipating things. So.
It's sometimes almost uncanny. Like sometimes you have this almost like precognition when you see two guys going too wide into something, and you're like, okay, they're just gonna crash. Like one of them is gonna be dead, and the other guy is gonna be slow, and I'm gonna blow by both of them. And
it's like here it comes.
And then you just wait 2 seconds, and one guy is in a wall, and the other guy is sideways.
Yep.
Easy money.
Yeah. Well, a big part of it is you probably heard me say you guys don't know your shapes, and from my perspective, when I'm racing, literally racing is a 2-dimensional thing: left, right, forward, back. And so you look at both cars, you look at where they're turning, and you say, well, the car on the inside is going to have a shitty entry, so he'll be slow. And the car on the outside is running on the outside, so he'll be slow. So if I put my car here, I'll run by both of them. Like, I've even sat on a table with Hot Wheels and put Hot Wheels down on a desk and just been like, if my car was here, and this car was here, and this car was here, where would I go? I would go here, and they would go here. Right? And so after a while, you start to see it. And then it's funny when you are sitting in a car that hits you, because I get hit all the damn time, where you look at the entry line of the car that is about to run into you, and you say, if you were alone, would you put your car there? No, that line's terrible. What is going to be the outcome of that terrible line? A shitty exit. You're going to overspeed and hit whatever's in front of you. And it's just because I've been paying attention for 4, 5, 10, 20 years of cars going left and right and where they are on the track. Like, you need to know where your cars are on the track and what the outcome is of where they are. And that will be the majority of your racecraft, right? Left, right, from forward, back.
And one thing that's important to understand is the way you free up the mental capacity to pay attention to what the other cars is doing is to make your own driving automated enough that you don't need to think about, like, where am I braking, where's my apex, where do I step on the throttle. If you are doing like 99% lap times, obviously if you're doing like 100% maximum quality push lap, yes, then you are fully focused on it. But like the normal race driving is usually a little bit below the limit, because that frees up your conscious thinking to pay attention to what's happening around you. Like obviously you're looking at your corners, but you're also paying attention to the car in front. Like you can see things like he's always a little bit wiggly on this exit. Maybe he has an oversteer problem, or he's missing this corner every single lap. What can I do with that information? Mm-hmm. And that's how you win those really hard battles, is to kind of gather all the information about the driver in front, and then figure out, what can I do with this? I know he's better here. I know he's slower there. I know he struggles with that corner. What can I do with that? Can I scare him into a mistake? Doesn't always work, but hey, sometimes it works. Maybe worth trying. Or he's always slow on that exit, so maybe if I can get really close on the previous part, and then I can do something with that. I don't know, but
let me ask you something. Is there a way to I don't know if you guys have any recommendations. Are there any YouTube channels that analyze incidents like that, and you kind of like learn what happened and how people react? Because the only way that I would learn those type of situations would be dealing with them on track.
Well, you gotta
and that is going.
You gotta review back over your own stuff, right? Like, look, man.
Yeah, I don't
do that.
You've been
sitting in Ricky debriefs with me for 3 years. We've been talking about this for a really long time. All the incidents are largely the same, right? But
yeah,
at the end of the day, like, you have to go and investigate to figure out that pattern for yourself. Because how many times have I told you guys don't hit what you can see? Left, right, forward, back, right? Like, how many times,
Oh, yes.
right? Like, countless times. I made hats, I've made shirts, I've made flyers, like, I made stickers. Like, after a while, you have to just kind of, not calling yourself out, this is generally for the whole group, like, take some personal responsibility to just learn the damn concept. And then it'll click, right? Because you'll say, he's not on the racing line, I am. What does that mean? I'm on, and then you kind of, you build from there.
So maybe an exercise you can try. I don't know how well this works. I'm not a teacher. I have absolutely no kind of formal education in any of this. But you can try something like watch something, and then as soon as you see something that looks like this could lead into some kind of interesting situation, pause whatever video or whatever you're watching and write down what you think is going to happen. And then let it play and think about, like, was I right? Was I wrong? If you were wrong, well, why did I misanalyze this situation? And that helps you kind of build the mental models that help you. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it works. I cannot, like, I the type of person I am, I cannot turn this constant analysis. Like, I'm looking at a Spa 24-hour or whatever race, and I'm all the time, like, when I'm enjoying the broadcast, I'm also constantly analyzing. Like, he missed the corner. Oh, he was at fault on this incident. I can't turn it off. It's impossible.
Well, and I think the big hard problem for a lot of folks is that if the incident doesn't specifically involve them, they don't pay as much attention, right? I think it's human nature. It's just, you know, I get hit a lot and I pass a lot of cars, so I take every like incident kind of personally, and I'm thinking about it often. Where, you know, I'm sure for most of you guys sitting here, you kind of tuned out about halfway through this discussion, right? Like, we've talked about a couple of concepts over and over again, and you're probably not really listening, and that's okay, right? But
can I make a point, Devin?
Yeah.
As far as at this point in the race, as far as awareness goes, Gustavo's got third place in the bag. Why is he even trying to pass me? He's
I mean, that's
Pablo is nowhere anywhere there. Why would you want to put yourself in a position to be in that kind of danger when you got a podium?
That is true. Although I think it could also be applied to you, because I think your position is completely secure as well.
Absolutely.
So you are, like, you could also just let him by to reduce your own risk.
You know, personally,
I know it's kind of like, and this is a mentality of the fast drivers in general, is that they want to go fast no matter what. Like, doesn't matter if I have a 30-second gap behind me, I still want to go fast all the time. And if I'm stuck behind a slower car that's lapped down, it's annoying because I want to go fast.
I mean,
no matter what.
Although personally, like, as the guy in second in this race, that's exactly what I did. So as soon as Gustavo hit the curb, I threw away 2 seconds a lap on purpose, because I was like, "There's no way he's going to be able to catch up 12 seconds, no matter how fast he drives. I'm not going to catch Joseph at all. So I'm going to get second." Like, it's so easy that why make it hard? And so I drove a gear high and just missed corners and just waited for the run the clock out.
Just let me tell a short story from last Sunday. So that was the last round of the Junior Community League for this season that just ended, and I had to finish the race to win the championship in silver, because the only other guy who could have won it had to win the race, but he crashed on lap 1 and he was like a million laps down and whatever. I was in P2 and I was catching the car in front like 5+ seconds per lap, and this was Nordschleife, so that's not that much, but like quite a lot anyway. And I could see that I can catch him before the end of the race. And I knew that all I need to do is to finish. Like, literally, I just need to not crash and I get the championship. And I was running as hard as I could. Like, I only let go just before the final corners because I saw that I was still too far to actually make a move. And that's just like the racer mindset. You are always trying to go, like, even when you know that you don't need to, it's very hard to resist the temptation to, like, go fast. Have to go fast. And sometimes, obviously, it's kind of misplaced, but it's also like, as the backmarker, if you know you're secure, it's also for your own safety sometimes better to just let the other guy go. Like, especially if he looks aggressive.
Yeah, I think it's all circumstantial too. Like, from my side, I was like, well, I was fighting for P2 for a long time, and I got an easy win, like an easy goal, 2 or 3 laps before the end. So as much as I'd like to put in some more laps, like, I'm not gonna, unless just is gonna get a penalty. Yeah, it's fine, right? Because I've got a big coverage on the car behind. I can always pick speed back up if he catches me through some weird fucking miracle or something. But I don't need to risk anymore. I'm good here, right? Gustavo, like, if I was in Gustavo's spot, I probably would have thought something similar because it's like you're not going to catch me now, so make sure you don't get your car wrecked. But kind of depends on the guy you're racing.
And that's kind of like what I did on the last lap. I noticed that I wasn't going to be able to pass him, so I just tried to follow him as close as I could. But I would like to understand a bit better if that was falling under what happened before with the McLaren. So very important lessons today, guys. I really appreciate it.
But your goal shouldn't be to follow as close as you can. I mean, if you want to practice that particular thing, then sure. But like generally speaking, if you want to learn a skill that's most useful, you want to figure out how can I carry more speed to the exit of the corner. Because if you're following super close, it's just gonna go the same speed. If it's slow on the mid corner, you're gonna be slow on the mid corner. There's nothing you can do about it. But that's just like, again, the only way to build the skill to judge the speeds and distances is to actually practice it. Like, just keep doing it.
It's funny that I mentioned that. I never practiced how to get a better exit. I always practice how to follow close as possible.
Oh, no. I'm literally the only thing, if I'm like in a non-race situation and I'm playing with someone who is like massively slower than me, literally the only thing I'm doing is just like looking at their mistakes and going like, I'm gonna get so much better exit here, and then I'll lift on the straight to not pass them and do the same in the next corner, and just like, because the best way to overtake someone, and this goes both for position but also for back markers, is to just get the better exit, because there's nothing like, if you get a massively better exit, there's very little they can do about it.
That's why I didn't pull over and be the proper blue flag, because there was never a run. He never got a run on me, so I had no reason to take my foot off the gas.
Exactly, and that's what I wanted to bring this up, is because it wasn't on you.
Hey, Gustavo, by the way, remember that video I sent you last week that you told me it was boring in the very beginning and you didn't watch it all the way through?
I should watch that.
Yeah, you should, because it's literally this thing. That's why I sent it to you. I was like, hey man, like this is what you do. You follow too closely, and then you end up dating the guy rather than passing him. And like when you told me, I was just like, I literally was like, well, I'm not. My New Year's resolution was, once I give someone the answer, I'm not going to share it with them again. So I was like, okay. And when I followed you during the race, I was like, brother, I told you about this last week. I mean, we talked about it. I tried to warn you, but okay, all right.
Yeah. That's why we're here, guys. It's to learn. I really appreciate that.
That's all right. If you want to see the unluckiest takeout heading into a chicane I've ever seen, check out. Larry, are you still with us?
54-13 is what we're looking for.
All right, and then I'm going to bed after this.
It's a bit of watching Brendan and I running front to back, and right after I get bumped here. Yeah, watch from this position.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Oh, wow.
Now listen to my car.
Keep watching.
Oh no.
Can you go back just a little bit? Just after contact, look at it from Brendan's position and listen to my car, because I saved Keith, who went through behind us. I saw him coming, so I hammered the throttle just to spin around, and then unfortunately Mark came through and got clobbered when he came back on track.
That sucks. It's so rough.
I think Brendan just didn't know he was there.
But I mean, again,
Good question. Oh my God, it's just like death everywhere. So, why didn't you try to slow down more? Here.
Or I mean,
like here.
Just. I mean, even with this slowdown, this like just go split the middle. Like if there's two spun cars, split between them. Don't just like hug one of them,
You know,
because you don't know
And I'll admit this is lame. Like I will admit that for sure. But I
do have to admit though, I did back up right after throttling the shit out of the car, so it might look a little different from where he is
for me,
now.
it actually, as I was going into here, it looked like Larry was starting to creep forward. I'm like, oh shit! And then this is only my second ever race in this car. I've got no idea. I've not even practiced in op with it.
Well, okay. So
I don't actually know how wide this car is, and I thought, oh.
Yeah, so I also think that kind of drives the point home even more, right? So like, if we don't know for sure, bail out even more, because here, especially because you're gonna pass these cars no matter what happens. Creeping through this will get you the same result than try to go through it quickly. And going through it quickly just means that if something happens, you have less time to try to get out of the way. But if you had bailed out a lot, like just went nope, and just do
like you did.
Yeah, exactly. You see here, you still turn in for the apex. Like you're not creeping. You're still trying to go through fast. And so this partly causes the problem because this car moves and you're going quickly, that when you do get hit, it's bad. If you were moving slowly, let's pretend he still keeps going, it would just be like thunk, and then you just drive away. So a little bit here, maybe in future when you see cars spun, don't try to get through it quickly. Just here. Oh wow, that's fun. Slow. Even more slow. Even more brakes. Even more brakes. And then drive through slowly, and then he just dunks you.
I mean, I would say the brakes were probably fine, but I would have stayed off throttle here, especially if you see, like, if you saw the car on the left moving. Stay off throttle, because if you're coasting and he hits you, you probably will not spin.
Yeah, so I didn't see him move at all until.
Right, but even then, like if you're in a scary situation, just coast through it, because even if you get hit, if you're coasting, the car will probably not spin in such a way that you cannot like counter steer and recover it. But if you are on throttle and you get hit like this in the rear quarter at low speed, there's nothing you can do.
Right.
Like it's always gonna just spin around.
It turns to oversteer immediately. Yeah, because if you get hit on while you're coasting, you can jump on the throttle and settle the rear suddenly and be like, nope, and then drive away. But if you're already on power, then you're just gonna. It's like you were sliding, right? And it spins the car all the way around.
Yeah, I spent probably half my race sliding because I don't know how to drive this car properly.
Well, it's.
And yeah, I thought I was going a little bit slower than that, but 60k an hour, that's 35 mile an hour.
Yeah.
So I wasn't going real quick. Like I usually sitting probably 10, 15 k's an hour faster through here than that.
Yeah,
but
that's still pretty quick. And like, well, and there's the big question of like the fundamental of car control of like, do you have that awareness regardless of the car? Because there are some things that it does not matter what car you're, at least in my opinion, it doesn't matter what car you're in, it doesn't matter how much seat time you have with it, it doesn't matter if it's your first day or your 100th day, like physics are physics. And so there are some things that if I have a firm understanding of the concept, I'll take with me even if I'm not quick. And so in a couple places, it's like, I should know how to shut the car down, keep the car weight underneath me, do a few things to get through it, sort of stuff. Like, it's just, you maybe have a little bit stronger fundamental confidence there so that you can use those skills when necessary, right? Rather than trying to go through quick.
Yeah.
That kind of brings up a point that it's unfortunate that I don't really know how to teach driving fundamentals to people, because I kind of realized in the last weekend's JCL race. So just for context, I did my first lap ever on Nordschleife, like a full lap. I've done some particular sections of it for Gran Turismo 3 license tests like 20 years ago or something. More than 20 years ago, actually. But I'd never done a full lap in any sim at all. I did my first full lap Wednesday last week, and I had the league race on Sunday. I had like 5.5 hours of practice before then. And I was almost fastest in silver. There was one guy who was like clearly faster. And I think that kind of boils down to just like having decent driving fundamentals. Because like for me, the hardest part about the track was remembering the corners, not driving it. Like people say it's such a difficult track to drive and such a challenge and whatever, but I thought the corners were like not that hard. As long as I can remember where I am, not that hard. I really wish I knew how to teach people just like basic driving fundamentals, just how to like figure out where's the limit of the car, judging understeer, oversteer, how to handle it. I don't know how to do that. I wish I did.
There's a certain amount of, I think, driving nerdiness that you need to have if you don't have other experience driving other things too, because it's like, unless you go and educate yourself on the concept of how a car moves around, I can tell you this all day and it just won't click. Because you don't have a way to really tie what you're doing to the technical terminology, and so it just doesn't slide in. Like, I have a background in autocross, so autocross is all weight shifting and car control, so it got drilled into me at an early part of my career of like, learn how to make a car slide and how to stop slides and other things like that. And when I started karting and other things, like I used that experience to get up to speed quickly because it was just weight transfer. And
yeah,
but not everybody has that, right? And I could explain it to you all day, but if it doesn't click technically in your head, or you don't read up on it, or you don't sit in your car and play with your car in a parking lot for a couple minutes, I'm just making technical jargon. I might as well be saying Star Trek terms, right?
So. Interestingly enough, for me, I knew the physics pretty well, but for me the problem was because I come from a real life motorcycling background. Is that the feel, like the steering, how the car reacts to steering, how it reacts to pedals, it all felt very kind of weird, and it took me a fairly long time to get around that. But yeah, just like basic, very good driving fundamentals put you in a place where it's almost like hard to crash because you know what to do. Like you have a very kind of instinctive reaction if you get like sideways or the car wants to do something you don't want it to do, rather than some people who are and this is why I don't like when people practice a track. Practice driving the car.
Yeah.
The track will come to you. Like learning a new track doesn't take that much time if you have very strong fundamentals.
So one suggestion that might help is play like a Assetto Corsa in a drift car, or play like use another sim to kind of just slide the car around, like just a gymkhana, rally to some degree, even though the footwork is different, where all you're doing is car control. Because the more you kind of get those fundamental habits of just getting the car to slide and do what you want in your head, the easier it is to pick up a car quickly. Like, I can pick up most cars pretty quick. Now, driving in them at 10/10 is incredibly hard, but I can get 7/10, 8/10 pretty fast because I know the fundamentals, like they're ingrained in me. So I know how to make the car slide and move and da-da-da-da, right? But I also just like doing it for fun. So if I get a chance to play a drift sim or something else like that, like I'm actually rebuilding my sim after we finish moving to add a Hydra e-brake and a H-pattern shifter just so I can do more drifting. Because it's good car control. It's just good car control. Like, I'm not trying to do any competitions or anything. I just want to be able to slide my car at crazy angles and be able to predict where the car's going to slide, and that'll help me. It'll help my racing. So.
I would say in ACC, if you want to practice car control, I would go drive the GT4s because they behave in much more kind of. First of all, you have more time to do things because the car is moving slower, obviously, and everything happens like way slower. Also, they are less snappy. Like oversteer in a GT4 is kind of like, yeah, whatever, easy money. Oversteer in a GT3 is like, if you don't react immediately, you're gonna die.
Yeah, fast hands.
Also, I found it interesting that I generally don't like car hopping a lot, but I did some fun races with another Discord community recently in AC1, where we did one race in MX5, we did one in some 70s 911, which was very interesting. We did one in the like 50s Ford or something with like all the power and none of the grip, which was hilarious. And we did one in the 2004 Formula One car. And surprisingly, I generally don't like super high downforce cars, but I actually found the Formula One car even to be like fairly natural now that I have a little bit of kind of car control ability. And it was really fun. Like all of those were fun. Some of them were really tail happy, but it was fun. All of it.
Yep. So I mean, Mark, that's a thing I would just keep in mind as you're racing more. Is like, if you can embrace understanding technique regardless of the car, then you won't feel like, oh, I need more time in this car for like a lot of that fundamental stuff. It'll help you get up to speed more quickly, and then you can start pushing, right? And then you can be like, okay, like I can drive the damn thing. Like I can drive the McLaren, sure. I can drive without crashing, no problem. Now I want to go fast. Okay, cool. Let's focus on that now.
Yeah, well, that's basically what I was focusing on tonight, was just trying to learn the control of this particular car because, like I said, like last week I was still under the influence of COVID, not doing well.
Yep.
Been out of the rig for over a month, and to jump back in, and like today's the first race where I've actually felt comfortable enough to actually learn and drive again to even, to get to where I should be.
That's good. That's good. That's good.
I don't know. I think he did a pretty damn good at not hitting me when I made a pass on him and used Gustavo as a shield.
Yeah.
I can't. Yeah, actually, I don't know where that was, but that was
39-18.
I'm going to bed. I'm going to bed. I'm going to bed. I'm going to bed.
That's not on the list.
It's an impressive. It's a very, very. There was a piece of paper between us for a couple of bits there. It was for car control. That was actually probably one of my best bits of car control
That's
ever.
awesome. That's awesome. I will look at
100%
it.
agree.
I will look at it in the morning over breakfast. I'm going to sleep. I want to go to bed.
Thank you very much, guys. I really
Yeah, I'm about
appreciate
to go
that.
make lunch.
See?
See?
I am going to bed.
Have a nice night, guys.
Take a look at it yourself too for 39-18, and you can see a little bit of timing on my part.
Okay. But I will do that after I sleep. Bye-bye.
Buenas noches.